pan in another pan. We don't do, chefs don't do that. We try to get everything done in one pan. Why? Less dishes, more flavor. Everything's in that pan. You do one thing in one pan, you do another thing in another pan, and then it says, the recipe suggests then mix it. I only have 2 burners, first of all. Even if I had 4, that would be a waste of space and time and product and everything. So we're gonna get this all done in one pan. The way we're gonna do that is we're gonna start with the cauliflower, just like it was chicken. Just pretend like it's chicken cubes. Go into, see how my oil's starting to smoke a little bit? That's good, that's hot, it's ready to go. Nothing goes into a cold pan with oil. You ever have something that was saturated in oil, vegetables that were saturated in oil, like almost to an unappealing way? That happens by if you place a product in cold oil and bring it up to temperature.
Oh yeah.
So if you get the oil hot first, it kind of acts more as like just a barrier between the pan and the product. It doesn't really ever, I'm not going to say it doesn't get on the food, but it won't saturate your food. So hot, always. Nothing goes into a cold pan outside of duck breast. But how many times do you cook duck breast? So we'll say nothing goes, I mean you, anybody, how much does anybody cook duck breast at home? So don't worry about it, everything goes into a hot pan. Now this is too much, I don't want to overcrowd the pan, so I'm going to go in just like that. That's the sound you want to hear. If you don't hear that sound, you're not cooking. I don't know what you're doing, but there needs to be a sound there. I don't want that one there. So it looks like we can almost fit it all in there. We don't really, again, don't want to overcover the pan, because you know what happens when we overcover the pan? Well, that guy's doing nothing at all. Nothing. He's just kind of hanging out on top, just, what's the point? So,
and the air gets, the moisture gets caught in there.
Exactly, that's exactly what you're mentioning. And you wind up steaming that, and that's not always a bad thing. You can actually, knowing that that's actually what would happen negatively, you can use that on a positive by throwing some greens on top and letting them steam. So you're using this as a steaming rack for whatever you might want to steam, your greens, your asparagus on top, or whatever. Whatever it might be. So we'll try to get it in there, we'll do our best. Now, another reason why we want to do this too is we want to caramelize, I think is the word. We want to roast, we want to add color to our vegetables. What that's doing is, I think what it's doing is, the natural sugars in the vegetables are just like any sugar. You know how you can take sugar and cook it and make caramel? And we kind of love caramel, right? It's like, oh, caramel's good, put it on the ice cream. Oh my God, what is it? I mean, I love caramel. I don't know about you guys, but I think what's happening in the vegetable is the natural sugars are doing the same thing that sugar does. It's turning into like cauliflower caramel, you know? And we like that. We love that taste of roasted things, and especially vegetables. Almost to a point where they're burnt. You can kind of burn vegetables, and it's kind of really appealing. You kind of can. I mean, you know, like char. Like, don't worry about it burning. You take a look at the rice. 95% of the water is pretty much evaporated. You can tell that there's little holes in there. So what I would do now at this point is drop it to a simmer and let it go the additional 6 minutes or so that it needs. You could cover it at this point if you think you're going to be serving it in about an hour or 2. You put a lid on there, you just kind of forget about it until you're ready. You fluff it up right before you're ready to serve it, and it's good. Don't check it. Don't pick one up and check it. It knows you're going to do it, and it will say, nope, don't do it. It's going to do it. It lets all the water evaporate. It's going to do its thing. So I'm going to pop a lid on just because I want to keep that nice and warm while where you are. And it is dropped to a small simmer. No big deal. Now, notice I didn't do anything. A lot of people are getting worried, right? Like, what's going on? Did you forget about the cauliflower? Yeah, he did. But that's okay. We want to let that almost burn a little bit. So, if you want, just grab one. Give it a little look. You don't have to shake it all around. See that? A little color? We like that. That's okay. So, that tells me that it's probably ready for a little jiggle. Just to kind of toss it up. What this does is cools down a pan a little bit, and then kind of rotates everything so you can kind of roast other sides of it. What could be really nice right now is maybe like if you had a grill or an open fire, getting some fire roasted going on, add some smokiness and just another level. But it's okay, we can do this too. So let that roast, you forget about it. Now the recipe does say start with the jalapenos in step 1. But we're not doing that because we eliminated that whole step 2. So we're starting with step 2, really. And then we're going to add all of step 1 in that hot pan. Keeping everything together, one pan. Which is our shallots, our jalapenos, our herbs. And we need to also make a chimichurri. So, fairly simple process here. Our parsley's ready. Now, chimichurri can be done with all kinds of herbs. You can throw cilantro in there, you can throw basil in there. It's quite all right, but we're going to do it with parsley in this case. The recipe does say food processor. You could damage your herbs if you do that. And if you're only doing a little bit, it's really not necessary. You can do it with a knife. It's very easy. So we have a little bunch, and we're just going to run our knife through it one time. Just one time. If you run your knife through, that's why a food processor will damage your herbs. If you run your knife through too many times, you'll notice it'll start to bruise. It won't be attractive. It's not appealing, and whoever you're serving it to might not want to eat it. So it needs to be beautiful and fresh, and the way you do it. And again, a nice sharp knife is important. So the ramekins are ready. We can get the desserts in. And you know what we need to do? Why don't we swap out the desserts for the mushrooms that are in the brick oven? Are you able to do that?
Yeah, that's fun.
Right? You can do that.
Yeah. Okay. What are you doing?
The peaches are over here. We're just marinating a bit. So we're gonna go here. You guys wanna work on it together here? All right. What do you guys wanna do? We have our ramekins. We'll fill them up as much as we can. It would be dramatic if you were able to kind of make a little bit of a dome with them, really fill them up, and that kind of needs to be. Fork is a good tool for that. You just kind of like fork it in, but
I'll let you guys use a spoon and turn that into ramekins. And pour.
All right, good. Now a little bit of Stephanie, can I use butter?
Butter, it calls for butter.
I don't know. I'm gonna put a little butter in there. What butter? This is an advantage to butter too in a dish like this. You hear that noise? That's 20% of that butter is moisture. I'm sorry, like 10% of that butter is moisture. That's cooking away, and that's giving some steam. That's gonna encourage a little bit more of the cooking of the cauliflower. And the butter will brown a little bit, and the butter will help the vegetables brown a little bit. So we get that in there, we give it a little saute, and then we're gonna throw in the rest of our ingredients. Start with the jalapeno for a little bit of heat. It's not going to be much heat. Believe me, that's not a lot of jalapeno. You got all the heat. I gave you all the heat.
I don't know. It's too much.
No, I think it's not enough. I think what we want to do is we want to embellish it. We want to overload it, almost like too much falling out. It'll look nice. And then we'll put a little bit of this on top. We'll throw it in the oven to bake it. Beautiful. All right, we got our shallot. Yes, all of them. The recipe says only. I don't know what the recipe says, but shallots are delicious. I promise you, you won't even know they're in there. I'll just say, that was really good. I don't know why. It must have been all those shallots. Now, a typical masala, from my experience, would contain some ginger as well, fresh ginger, fresh onion. We got shallots, that's fine, and I was cooking that down too. But, that's fine. Didn't have it. If you did have ginger in your fridge from a recipe before, it's a good opportunity to mince it up and throw it in with those shallots and the garlic and the jalapeno. Okay. Back to the chimichurri. Herbs, spice. Chimichurri usually has some sort of heat, crushed red peppers or something. An acid, a little bit of that zest. I don't know if the recipe calls for it, but it's delicious. I'm not going to put the raw garlic directly in there because of time reasons. What I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze a lemon on the garlic, and the acid is going to begin to cook the garlic so it's not raw. Acid and heat are very, very similar in what they do to food. I think the only difference would be acid. I believe that acid retains more vitamins because everything stays in the bowl, and heat kind of destroys certain vitamins. So, just something to think about. Okay, so there's that. We're going to throw in our greens at this point. They can steam up top. They don't really need to feel the heat. And That's that. Let that saute a bit. Back to the chimichurri. Herbs. In this case, parsley. Acid. In this case, lemon or lime would be nice, traditionally. Now the olive oil is really just preserving the parsley. It'll stay green until you use it. It's a lot like a pesto. Okay. So we toss that up. We get our acid. More lemon juice. Now notice I did a specific order. I did oil before the acid. The reason being is I would have put the acid in first. It would have had a chance to touch the greens. Once the acid touches greens, it starts to basically cook it, and then it turns brown and unappealing. You put the oil in first, it coats the greens before the acid has a chance to get to them, and basically protects the greens and keeps them green. So you keep in mind when you're making it that the order is important. A little stir. And then the recipe suggests to fold in some avocado. I don't know how traditional that is, but it sounds nice. Alright, there's our masala. And do we have this? Peppers? Pepper flakes?
Red pepper flakes?
They're right here. These will work. So here's a little bit of heat for the chimichurri, the jalapeno flakes. We don't have to necessarily reach into our cupboard for the, that's it. That's drama right there. That's beautiful. Next we're gonna, so now this, I'm comfortable with this. I want to get this cooking. So I'm gonna add some liquid, in this case, tomato product. And that's gonna cook down. I don't know, the recipe says like 15 ounces or something. I think that's 28 ounces. I don't know. It's kind of hard to add too much tomato product too, because you're just going to cook it down anyway and intensify the flavor. So really, the more tomato product you add, the longer you have to cook it. I mean, really, we could have just done tomato paste and a little bit of stock, and we would have been exactly where we needed to be. It all kind of like really depends on how much time you have to cook and what you're trying to achieve and so forth. So the mushroom. I'm just going to grab the mushroom.
Oops, sorry.
No, it's all right.
Want me to grab it? You got it?